Hi guys, and welcome to another video where today we're going to be attempting to predict the final league table of the 2018-2019 Premier League season. It could be a long video, so let's just get straight into it.
So first of all, we're going to start off with who we think will get relegated, basically our bottom three. In 20th, I've gone for Huddersfield. They have lost many players. I released quite a few, as well as selling the likes of Tom Ince to Stoke City for 10 million. And they've also signed some questionable players. They have signed Ramadan Sobhi from Stoke. He's 24 years old, scoring 1 goal for a winger, which is, in my opinion, atrocious. And they've also signed the likes of Eric Durm and Adama Diakhaby from Monaco.
I think Durm's quite a good purchase though.
Yeah, Durm's a good purchase, but I can't see any of the other transfers doing well, and I think it's just going to be second season syndrome for Huddersfield. 19th, I've gone for Watford. Javi Garcia, I think he shocked everyone that the board let him stay on for manager after last season. They're constantly changing. I say this all the time, they're managers, but he'll probably be gone within the next 3 weeks, I imagine. And if they have another 10 billion managers this season, then I can only see them getting relegated to the Championship. And then in 18th, I have gone for the team that almost got relegated but survived by the skin of their teeth last season, and that is Southampton. Now, the reason I've gone with Southampton, they looked dreadful at the end of last season after, of course, Mauricio Pellegrino left. I think all the Southampton fans were glad about that, and Mark Hughes couldn't really save them, but they were just so lucky that they survived. And for that reason, and another reason is they just haven't really signed anyone. They have signed Hamid, and I have no idea how I'm going to say that name, but that's the name I'm thinking of. He came from Basel, 23 goals and 83 appearances. It's okay records. Same with Yannick Vestergaard from Borussia Mönchengladbach, 6'6". I think he'll do alright, but I just can't see Southampton surviving again. I think they're going to go down, unfortunately, back into the Championship.
So in 20th position, I've gone for Huddersfield Town. Unfortunately, I think they'll get relegated. They did okay last year. Their record at the end of the season was pretty poor. I think they recorded just 1 win in 10 matches, which you could say is relegation form at that time. They did get a couple of draws and they managed to drag themselves away from the bottom, but not the best. They brought a few players in as well, as you say, Diakhaby from Monaco and Congolo from Monaco as well, but he was already on loan there last season, so they've made that deal permanent. I think they're going to struggle to score goals again. They might get the odd game. I think they beat Manchester United last season, or was that Brighton? I think they beat Manchester United at some point. They got an okay goalkeeper there, Lossell, and Eric Durm from Dortmund. He's an okay signing, but overall, I think they're going to go down, unfortunately, Huddersfield. In 19th position, I've gone for Southampton. They managed to scrape away from relegation last year. They finished in 17th position. Mark Hughes and his team of, I think it's Eddie Negreski, Mark Bowen, they dragged Southampton away from the relegation zone just. In the close season, they have signed the likes of Armstrong from Celtic. He'll sort of bolster their midfield. Whether he's up to Premier League standard, we don't know. Time will tell. The young forward that they have signed from Basel, Lusunususi, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, unfortunately. Will he be able to get a chance? They've got the likes of Gabbiandini, Shane Long, and Charlie Austin as well, of course. So I expect Charlie Austin will start the season. So there is a bit of competition up front. Whether they're going to play with 2 up front or just a lone striker, I'm not sure. The new signing Vestergaard at the back looks like a giant of a player. Maybe fill in the void that Virgil van Dijk left. We don't know. Will he be able to adapt to the Premier League? You know, he's played in the Bundesliga, so he may be all right. But overall, I don't see this being a very good season for Southampton, especially when they lost the likes of Tadic, who was one of their main playmakers last season. So, fortunately, Southampton, I can see you going down. In 18th position, I've gone for a team now. I was in 2 minds of putting this team in 18th, but I've gone with Fulham. Now, they have made some decent enough signings. The likes of Seri from Nice, who does seem a good player. I think he slots into the centre midfield. They've also got Schürrle, who comes in, but At 27, he should be at the peak of his powers, but I think in the last season or two, he hasn't done that great. He was in the World Cup squad. I think he scored in 2 goals in the World Cup finals in 2014. But I think he's kind of... His form has dipped. He's not the player he was, so I'm not sure how much he's going to make an impact at Fulham this season. They have brought in Mitrovic. He did score the goals last season to bolster Fulham's attack when they really needed it, so he could be a good signing for them. But with Fulham, I think they've got a soft underbelly. They have got Kearney in the middle of the park as well, who is a decent player, but he does go missing from time to time. And for that reason, I think when they're coming up against teams like Crystal Palace, the likes of even Southampton, you could say Bournemouth, Burnley, they're going to struggle, I can see, especially away from home. That's why I put Fulham in 18th position. Moving on to 17th position, I've gone for Brighton. Brighton, like Huddersfield, managed to, that first season in the Premier League ever so well to stay up. They've actually done some fairly decent business in the close season. Most excited to see it for Brighton this season is the new winger from AZ Alkmaar, and that's Alezri Janan Bakshia. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it. The Iranian international. He played in the World Cup. He was top scorer in the Dutch Eredivisie with 21 goals from 23 appearances. So I'm really looking forward to him. And they've signed a couple of decent defenders as well. So I can see Brighton maybe not as good as last season, but I can see them staying up. In 16th position, I've gone for Cardiff City. Now, a lot of people have been saying that Cardiff are going to finish bottom, which I think... You never know, they might, but I think the togetherness in the squad, the manager that they got there, Warnock, brilliant manager. Okay, people are going to be saying that he hasn't done anything in the Premier League, but he's never really had the opportunity. If you look into the circumstances of his time in the Premier League, we've also got some really exciting players as well. Callum Patterson, I think, could be an absolute star. Zohore, if he's firing, it's going to be immense for Cardiff. Joe Rolls in the middle of the park, he's going to run all day, and then you've got the likes of Hoylett and Bobby Reid, who I'm really excited about seeing as well. Where they could struggle is in that centre midfield positions. If the likes of Rawls get injured, Gunnarsson, not too sure about his quality in the Premier League. Where they could also struggle as well is in the centre of defence if the likes of Bamber and Morrison get injured. But at the moment, I think they're going to do well enough to stay up, and I can see them finishing it in 16th position. In 15th position, I've gone for Crystal Palace. Massive rumours at the moment as well, of course. Is Zaha going to stay? Is he going to go? If he goes, then Crystal Palace could go down slightly as well. They have got the likes of Mihalovic in the centre midfield, who I do think is a fine player. Benteke, of course, has struggled for goals up front. And with the likes of Loftus-Cheek going back to Chelsea and Johan Cabaye going, I think he's gone to the Middle East as well, then they're going to struggle. They have brought in this Max Meyer, who's, I think he's got 4 international caps for Germany. Whether he's going to shore up that, those midfield deficiencies, we don't know. But I think Crystal Palace will survive. They got Roy Hodgson, who's wily old campaigner, of course. So 15th position for Crystal Palace for me.
In 17th position, I have gone for our team, Cardiff City. Now, this is going to be our target for this season, as well as getting those lucrative, important 40 points. Although last season, 34 points would have got you safety, it's usually 40 points that pretty much guarantees you Premier League survival, and that's what all relegation candidates usually aim for. We've made some great signings. Greg Cunningham, great backup for Joe Bennett, unless he gets into the first team, and Joe Bennett's backup for him. We've also got Bobby Reid, excellent signing from our great rivals, and we've also got some backup for Neil Etheridge as well in Alex Smithies.
Cardiff also signed Josh Murphy, looks a good signing from Norwich, but another winger, Nathaniel Mendes-Lang, on his day, the guy is unstoppable, so watch out Premier League for him. The only thing is, of course, everybody's saying, have Cardiff got the Premier League quality? Possibly, possibly not. It remains to be seen.
Yes.
It could be an absolute disaster. It could be
a massive success.
It could be a success. We'll just have to wait and see on this one.
In 16th, I've gone for Brighton. As you said, made some excellent decisions in the transfer window, brought in some great players. Lost some players, but I don't think it will really affect them that much. So 16th for Brighton, I think it's going to be another good, strong season for them. In 15th, I've gone for Fulham. Really strong up front. You've got the likes of Tom Kearney, Alexander Mitrovic. He lit the championship on fire last season, as well as wonder kids such as Ryan Sessegnon. I think they're going to do well. The only point of concern is their defence. Will it be strong enough? I think
they have brought in a couple of defenders as well. Whether they're going to be good enough, though, remains to be seen.
I think they have spent a bit too much money, in my opinion. 65 million, thereabouts, more than Wolves, but who knows? I think 15th for Fulham. Okay, so moving on to 14th to 12th, I have gone 14th Bournemouth. Tiny little Bournemouth seem to keep doing it every year. Such a great manager under Eddie Howe. They haven't really brought in too many players. They have brought in David Brooks from Sheffield United. Could be a big Wales star in the future. And Diego Rigo from Ligan. Eddie Howe is a quality manager, and I just can't see Bournemouth getting relegated, to be honest. So 14th for them. In 13th, I have gone for Burnley. They did incredibly well last season under Sean Dyche, getting into Europe, of course. Beat Aberdeen last night 3-1, I believe, which takes them through to the third qualifying round. Traditionally, smaller teams who make it into the Europa League don't do as well in the league. They haven't really signed anyone either, which is quite shocking for a team that is in the Europa League. I don't think they'll do as well this season, but they aren't relegation candidates, so I've gone for 13th for them. Then in 12th, I've gone for Crystal Palace. Like you said, if Zaha stays or will make their season. I think he's going to stay, in my opinion. I don't think Roy's going to let him.
Well, rumours today, he's in the press and everything that say he is on his or he wants to go. So and that'll probably be Chelsea. How much Chelsea going to pay for him? I don't know. 40 million.
Well, Uncle Roy is not going to let him go. So if he does stay, then I think they're going to do well. They have a great squad. I think they're going to finish 12th, and that's my 14th to 12th position.
Okay, in 14th position, I've gone for Watford. A little bit of a tricky one. This I'm not really sure how Watford are going to do this season. They dropped off massively at the end of last season. They have brought in the likes of Navro from Espanyol. They brought in Ken Sema, a winger from Ostersunds, who's also a Swedish international. I just see Watford ending up in 14th place. Next up, in 13th position, I've gone for Newcastle. Another team I can't really predict where they're going to end up. Benitez is kind of saying in the press he wants to bring in some more players, etc. Hasn't got any money. There's this massive thing with Mike Ashley. I don't know the ins and outs of the full story. They have brought in the likes of Key from Swansea. I'm not that enamoured with Key's skills. They've got Voldemort that's still there as well. So, you know, centre midfield, they should be okay. Up front, they got the likes of Perez as well. Mid-table obscurity or just below for me for Newcastle in 13th. Next up, I've gone for Burnley in 12th position. Excellent season. As we know, last year everybody's going on about they're in the Europa League, they're going to fall off. Well, I think that's going to be true because they haven't actually bolstered their squad at the moment. There's still around about a week's left of this transfer window. But I think they are going to drop off this season and end up in 12th position.
As well as that, Burnley actually have both of their main keepers injured. That it being Nick Pope, who had a great season last year, and ex-Cardiff player Tom Heaton. So who knows what's going to happen at the start of the season.
I think Burnley fans are going to hope the likes of Chris Woods have got his scoring on this season.
And Sam Vokes, of course.
Sam Vokes as well. 11th position, I've gone for Wolverhampton Wanderers. Excellent season last year, of course. You could say, or some people saying that they bought the title. I disagree. You've still got to put those players out and get them to play. And you know they were the team to beat last year. So congratulations, Wolves, for winning the title last season. This year, I think they're going to do okay. They brought in a number of Portuguese players again. The likes of Martinho, who came in from Monaco. He played for Portugal, of course, in the European Championships a couple of years ago. They've also brought in Benfica's Mexican striker Raul Jimenez, who looks a real good striker up front for Wolves. So they're strengthening again. I think they're going to easily retain their status next season, but I've put them in 11th position. In 10th position, I've gone for Bournemouth. I think it's going to be another solid season for the Cherries. Eddie Howe is doing a very good job down there on the south coast. What they do need, I think, there are rumours perhaps of a new stadium in the pipeline, which they really need to, because I'm not sure of their capacity of their ground. Is it around about 11 or 12,000? So they really need, if they are going to continue in the Premier League and grow, they do need that new stadium. But a solid mid-table 10th position for Bournemouth. In 9th position, I have gone for Everton, the Toffees. with new manager Marco Silva. Marco Silva has brought in the likes of Richarlison from Watford, who he actually did sign for Watford. Whether he can get his philosophy across to the Everton players, I don't know. I know he's got rid of the likes of Ashley Williams, has gone on loan to Stoke, I believe, now for the season, announced today. So Everton going to have a fairly okayish season, roundabouts where they finished last year. Everton in 9th position. In 8th position, I've gone for the Foxes, Leicester City. I can see them improving by 1 position this year. I think they finished 9th last year. They brought in the likes of Ricardo Pereira from Porto, Johnny Evans from West Brom, and Maddison from Norwich. He looks a real good player, so I can see him playing an important role in the Foxes team, especially now that Riyad Mahrez has joined Manchester City. So I see a fairly decent season for Leicester in 8th position.
Okay, so now on to my 11th to 8th position. I've gone 11th Leicester, as you said. They have lost a few players, they have signed some, but I think it's going to be an average season for them. Usually the second year in charge for a Leicester manager doesn't exactly go that well, so, or as they would expect. So I have got them falling in a few places. I think it's going to be an average season for Leicester. In 10th place, I've gone for Newcastle. I think they've got a good squad in my opinion, as you said. They could sign a few players. Excellent manager under Rafa Benitez. And yeah, I just think they'll finish mid-table this season. 9th, I've gone for Wolves. Absolutely excellent squad. Pretty much bought the championship last year, and Portuguese players are phenomenal. Ruben Neves, I think he's going to do well. Jota's going to, I think he's going to...
Yeah, he's a good player.
Yeah, he's going to be great, I reckon. And then in 8th, I've gone for Everton. Great manager under Marco Silva. Haven't signed too many players. I think it's just going to be an average season for them. I think Richarlison was a bit overpriced though, 50 million, come on. Next up, we're going to move on to the Europa League places. Now, the 7th and 6th place team only qualifies for Europe if the FA Cup and League Cup winners are in the top 4. Or are in the top 5, I mean. In 7th, I've gone for West Ham. Phenomenal signing under Manuel Pellegrini. Like, wow. What a signing of a manager there. They've also brought in some excellent players as well. Such as Ryan Fredericks from Fulham on a free transfer. Lucas Fabianski. Yarmolenko, Anderson,
Jack Wilshere.
Wilshere, maybe.
Whether he stays fit or not.
Whether he can actually play full 90 minutes. And yeah, I just think it'll be a strong season for them. In 6th, we've gone for Man United. Now, this is going to get some hate in the comments, I reckon. Mainly because I think Mourinho has run out of steam.
Is he now?
And
he's not happy, is he?
He's not happy, he just moans at everything. Just parks the bus every week. Just not pleasing.
I wonder if
football.
he's watching this.
Well, he should be, because I just don't think he'll last the entire season.
Really now? Okay.
Pogba, average player, did well in the World Cup, but
right, okay.
I don't think he's going to do well, and I think signings they've made, Fred, he's an okay player.
6th position then.
6th position for Man United, I can't see him doing well. And in 5th position, I've gone for Chelsea. I would have put them higher. Of course, Conte got sacked during the World Cup, I believe. Or maybe just after the World Cup. They brought Sarri in from Napoli. He has brought in a player from Napoli, he's a ball player. He's going to support N'Golo Kante there. The main reason I put him 5th is because Sarri just hasn't had time to develop his squad. He's had a couple of weeks, hasn't been that good. I just don't think they'll be able to do that well this season. You never know, they might finish a bit up the table. Who knows? And yeah, that's my Europa League places.
In 7th position for me, I have gone for West Ham, like yourself. Made some very good signings over the summer to complement their already, fairly decent squad in the Premier League. I'm excited to see Philippe Anderson come in from Lazio, attacking midfielder, I believe. And also Yarmolenko, who's been, I think he's Ukrainian Player of the Year for four seasons recently. Phenomenal goal scoring record in Europe, so really excited to see him. I think they'll finish 7th. In 6th, I've gone for Spurs. Yeah, a bit of contentious one, this one. They haven't bought anybody in, but sometimes that doesn't matter. They've got a lot of players who played in the World Cup. I think that's going to catch up with them slightly, but they really need a cup. They need or a league title or something really. I think the fans now are getting possibly a little bit impatient, coupled with they're moving into their new stadium as well, so that could hinder things a little. The likes of Harry Kane coming back from the World Cup, Dele Alli, all those sort of things, so they haven't as much rest as a fair few players in the Premier League, but we do know that a lot of them have been at the World Cup themselves. In 5th position, I've gone for Arsenal. I was thinking of putting Arsenal back in the Champions League positions this season with the rebuilding of their defence, the new manager, the freshening up of things. Ozil's form in pre-season as well, I hear it has been very good. Ramsey, if he stays, there are rumours of Liverpool looking at him. I think he will though. I think Arsenal are going to push the teams just above them all the way, but I think they may just fall short. So I'm going for Arsenal in 5th position.
Okay, so now we're going to do the top floor and the Premier League winners, of course. In 4th place, I've gone for Arsenal. Excellent appointment under Unai Emery. Stan Kroenke, or whatever his name is, picked a really good manager there, in my opinion. He's really cleared out some of the dead weight in the Arsenal squad as well, which is good. Rebuilding the defence that has been weak for the past few seasons under Arsene Wenger. I think they're just going to have a solid season and they're going to get 4th once again in the Premier League. In 3rd position, I've gone for Spurs. Got some great players. Harry Kane,
Eriksen,
Eriksen, Dele Alli, Dembele, Lucas Moura, Son. Great squad. Just need to spend a bit more money. I don't think they're ready to get into 2nd and 1st yet, or even winning the Premier League, but I think they should be able to win some silverware sooner or later, i.e. the Carabao or FA Cup.
Yeah, I think so. They need freshening up a bit.
So, 3rd for Spurs. In 2nd, I have gone for Manchester City. Yeah, interesting. Great squad. First ever team to get 100 points last season in the Premier League. They're just fantastic. I think they're going to dip a little bit from last season. Man City have signed some players such as Riyad Mahrez to provide cover for your likes of Raheem Sterling and Leroy Sané, and Claudio Gomez and Felipe Sandler. They have released quite a few players as well, such as Yaya Toure. But it's going to be really about 2 clubs this season in the Premier League, and I think Man City are just going to lose out. And in 1st place, you know what I'm going to say, Liverpool. Now, they have signed some excellent players in the positions they really need it. You have got the likes of Fabinho and Naby Keita, who will play in midfield, with Henderson and Milner falling into backup, I believe.
Whether Milner can get in the team.
Whether Milner can get in the team. And then you've also got Shaqiri, who can provide good backup as well for Salah, Mane and Firmino. Great strike force there. And you've also got Alisson. Well, what can we say? He's much needed to replace Karius.
Much needed, but he did let some goals in against Liverpool when playing for Roma last season.
Exactly, but Liverpool were just too strong and then Roma's defence was a bit weak. Liverpool really needed a goalkeeper. Karius, terrible at the end of the season, terrible in the Champions League, and has been terrible in pre-season as well. Good replacement for Karius and Mignolet. It looks like they're going to get rid of Karius as well, and hearing reports online. So my champions this season are Liverpool.
Okay, for my top 4, the Champions League places, I've gone for Manchester United in 4th position. Even though it looks like all is not well at Manchester United at the moment, Mourinho always seems to get his team there or thereabouts, so I can see them finishing in 4th position. In 3rd position, I've gone for Chelsea. I'm really excited about seeing Jorginho from Napoli slot into that midfield. I think he's going to be. I think he's a deep lying midfielder, which means Kante is going to have to move from his current position. Whether he moves slightly up the field to the right, I don't know. But what I've seen of Jorginho on videos, etc., the way he plays, I think he's been top passer in Serie A as well for the last couple of seasons or something. He does look a fine player. But Chelsea, where they do lack though, is up front. Morata's not firing, and then you've got Giroud as well. Giroud did well when he came in from Arsenal last season, but they haven't actually got that
pace, really.
They haven't really got that pace up front, you could say, although Morata on his day is quite nippy. Really is key that they keep hold of Hazard. I know that Pedro is signed for another few years. Whether William stays, I know there's talk of him going to Manchester United or Barcelona. We don't know. But I've gone for Chelsea in third position. In second position, runners-up, I've gone for Liverpool. I think they're going to push Manchester City all the way. It does depend a lot on the likes of Salah and Mane. Again, Firmino, I'm not sure if he's going to start the season coming back from the World Cup. That means the likes of, you could see Danny Ings perhaps, or was Danny Ings gone out on loan? I don't know. Or Sturridge starting, although I'm hearing...
Or even Divock Origi.
Yeah, but I'm hearing that Sturridge is having quite a good pre-season, netting a few goals as well. Keita coming in is a good signing as well. Klopp's going to have them up for this season. I can see them finishing second. So that means my champions for the 2018-2019 season are once again Manchester City. Fantastic players throughout their squad. They're the ones to beat yet again. I think they're too strong for all the other teams in the Premier League at the moment. Liverpool are going to have a real good go at them. I think Liverpool have beaten them in pre-season as well. So they may have the psychological edge over Manchester City there, but overall, over a 38-game season, I can see Manchester City running out winners yet again.
So before we do the outro, who is going to be the first manager who will get sacked this season?
Well, I don't know if he's going to be sacked, but I think Benitez could walk from what I'm seeing at the moment in the press, or perhaps even Mourinho.
Interesting.
But it's a precarious position up there in Newcastle. I know the Toon aren't happy at the moment, and neither is Mourinho, as we've seen this last week. How about yourself?
Well, I can see a few managers who might get sacked, but there is one name that stands out, and he really stands out, and that is Javi Garcia of Watford.
The Watford manager.
Of course.
The revolving door.
The revolving door of managers.
Okay. So that's our predictions for the 2018-2019 final league table of the Premier League. Next week it's going to be back to the usual videos of us predicting the scores for each Premier League week. That's going to be out on probably Wednesday night or Thursday, so look forward to that. If you're not already a subscriber, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss these videos that are coming up fairly soon. Once again, thanks for watching, and make sure you leave your comments. Let us know where you think your team is going to finish up in the Premier League, if you indeed support a Premier League team. If not, just leave us a comment anyway. Once again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
Bye guys.
Cheers. So there we have it, guys. That's our predictions for the 2018-2019 season.